We made it. Mama J Speaks Unlimited. It has been raining and downpouring and all kinds of crazy, but Mama J and Mama K, we have been oming and chanting. We've been praying to clear it, and it is. We've been praying for protection and everything in between, and it's occurring. Sorry, folks, for starting a wee bit behind, but today I'm so happy to be here because Mama K is my co-host today, and we have a special guest, Brenda Armstrong. She came all the way over from Scotland on a boat just recently. She took one of the waves in, and she made it here, and she's like, "Woo, that was a rough one." But welcome, Brenda. Thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here.
So you're a multi-talented person among the rest of us. And you do massage therapy, you do body work, you do consulting to help people get straight on their life paths.
You could say it that way, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I have my own terminology for stuff.
That's good.
It's my own little world. You're in it. How do you like it?
I like it so far.
Awesome. So how long you been here? Other than 5 minutes?
Here on the planet? Or
Yes.
Here? Okay.
Let's start with your story.
I've been on the planet this time for 60 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You only look 33.
And I've been in Florida for 3 years. I grew up in Scotland and lived there for 20 years. And then when I left there, I moved to Canada. Lived in Canada for a number of years. Became curious again about what else was out there and went to the Caribbean and lived there for about 24 years. And now I'm here in Florida.
And folks, she's still only 33. That is quite the travels. And in your process,
I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, and in your process of traveling and everything, what led you to doing body work and doing your consultations and doing all the things?
It's been it's been an evolving process. I think we all evolve as we go through life, don't we?
Definitely.
So after about 7 years in corporate and government work, I became restless because it wasn't fulfilling.
Go figure. Restless?
I mean, some people do very well with that line of work.
Right.
And I did well with it, but it wasn't fulfilling my heart. It wasn't satisfying my soul. I wanted something that would give me more meaningful personal relationships with people that would make a difference in their lives.
Right. I feel you on that one.
So I waited a little bit. I put that out and I waited. And one day there was a listing I found in a phone book, serendipitously. The listing was the Canadian College of Massage and Hydrotherapy. And I said, "Oh, what's that?" So I called them. I said, "What do you do?" Because this was in the early 70s, and when massage wasn't really popular yet.
Not like today.
Not the way it is today.
No.
And the short story is that they sent me a curriculum. They invited me to come down to Toronto. I was living in Ottawa. To go to Toronto and audit a day's classes, which I accepted. And I had such a wonderful time that I went back to Ottawa and took a second part-time job as a waitress so that I could save the money to go to school. So about 10 months later, I quit my very secure, very prestigious government job and went to study massage.
That's beautiful. You took the plunge.
And all of my friends, except for 2, said, "You're going to do what?"
Oh, they just didn't
Well,
get it.
They didn't know at that time. It
No.
really wasn't. It wasn't a really understood concept at the time.
Right.
They just didn't realize that there was more to you than what they chose to see because
Possibly.
of the position that you were in the
Possibly.
corporation, government realm and everything.
But I've never looked back.
Of course not.
I loved it. And I'm still in it. I still do it. So over the years, I've developed different skills, as you do. I understand you're a massage therapist also.
I am.
Yes.
I actually decided to hang up my massage therapy
But you've
hat.
experienced that.
Oh, yes, for 15
And-
years.
Right. So as a therapist, you keep training and you keep getting those educational units to keep your license going and all of that. But out of your own interest, you take more courses than you need to anyway. So
Right.
over the years, I've taken a lot of different trainings with different people who had various approaches to the body.
Right.
Some very, very gentle, all of them very powerful. And as a result, I've incorporated them into my own style, which is what you do over a period of years, regardless the field you're in. You take the pieces that fit for you and you make them work.
Exactly.
Because we all have our own personality as well as the training that we get.
Exactly.
So it has to fit your personality so that when you put it out, it comes from you completely.
And it's totally coming from the heart space.
Right.
And you know that you're having the spirit work through
Yes.
you. So that's what I'm creating with doing my shows the way I do it. Yes, I'm quirky. And I can sit there and compare myself to the other shows that might be a little bit more structured or this and that. But then
But that's not you.
that's just not me.
Right.
I like people to come in, have a good time, feel very comfortable, just be themselves.
Right.
And have fun and laugh.
Yeah.
Because my mantra is love, live, laugh, and om.
Mm-hmm.
One day I will do a TED Talk.
Yes.
Yes, you should.
Yes.
And that's, it took
Definitely.
me a long time. When I started with the massage, before we even get into any of the other stuff, when I started with massage, there wasn't any place that would hire you because it was so unknown, really. So you had to start your own practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time, because there were no models, thinking I had to be a particular way. And I came from an academic and corporate style of background. So I had this idea that I had to be very box-like, I think. And
Right.
it took me a lot of years to really relax with that and be myself and let my clients get the personal side of me too, and not just the professional side.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a wonderful journey that way too, because it's opened me up. I've developed personally a great deal by practicing that with my clients. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Because
So-
that's what basically I went through in my process of being a massage therapist. I went through different phases. I was very stoic at first, and then I slowly came out of my shell and I was able to really connect with them. And a lot of my clients, they were very thankful that they felt like they went to La La Land because I created, as
They
you
connected with you.
I connected with them, but not only that, like you were saying, that you create your own massage techniques because you're pulling from different
Right.
ones.
Right.
And I definitely had created my own massage technique and way, and people just couldn't get it over how relaxed and transcendent they felt after the massages.
Because you also create a very safe space for them. I think that's one of the keys.
Mhm.
Because I get that kind of feedback a lot from people that they end up sharing with me things that they've never shared with anyone else, even their
Oh,
spouse.
yes.
And they recognize that there is a place of confidence, that they can tell me anything and it goes nowhere else, that they have someone who's empathetic
Mhm.
and can actually help guide them if they want the guidance, if they ask the questions
Right.
and they want a little help.
Mhm.
So they open up that way. And the things that you learn for yourself by listening to other people's experiences and the way they handle things is so rich. You can't buy that anywhere.
No, not at all.
Well, a lot of the times people are wanting, like we went to A Course in Miracles last night, and
nice.
what came up was the fear that we all go through and working through that, but also the fact that when things come up and people are wanting to talk, it's all about they want to be validated. They don't want to be told what to do, how to do it, or anything else unless they do personally ask a particular question. Then that's the cue to give the feedback. But other than that, people just want a sounding board. So I've really been learning how to be a sounding board and listening and being very quiet. Like you're seeing this part of me, but on the outside of here, my job positions that I have now, I'm very quiet and I just listen to what I need to do or this and that. And then it makes it a bit challenging because I'm giving up my control.
And you're learning more about yourself.
Oh, yes. Yes, most definitely. So you have an office in Pinellas County.
I do, in Largo.
And folks, she didn't actually come on a boat from Scotland on a wave. No, you have to understand my humor at this point, right?
Would have been fun, I think.
Instead, she used a surfboard and went across the bridges on her surfboard. Maybe she got some of those little waves in the Tampa Bay.
A little boost.
Yeah. She came from the same area that Mama Kay and I came from. So,
It was fun.
yeah, it was fun. We're like, ooh, tornado warnings. And then Chris, our lovely producer engineer guy, he's like, oh, I was a tornado chaser in Texas.
No big deal.
Well, you know,
No
I
big
lived,
deal,
I
he
lived for a
said.
long time in an earthquake zone. Not an earthquake zone. Backtrack. A hurricane zone.
Oh.
And one of my biggest fears was earthquakes, because they do
Oh.
have earthquakes in the Caribbean occasionally.
Mhm.
And I always thought, if I have to live in a potential disaster area, I'd rather live in a hurricane zone than a tornado zone or an earthquake zone.
Yeah.
Because you have very little warning, if any warning,
Right.
with those. But with a hurricane, with things the way they are with technology, you have several days to prepare.
Right.
So
and
that-
it always will change tracks.
It can, but
Yes.
they're more and more definite and accurate with their predictions now.
But of course, if you ohm, it changes everything.
Yes.
It can.
Definitely.
So, what have you been doing? When we had spoken on the phone, you said that you have created some classes that
Yes.
you were offering.
Yes,
and
I'm very
everything. Let's
excited.
talk about that.
yes.
I'm very
Classes,
excited.
By all means.
Throughout the body work that I've done, I've always informally, if you like, coached people. They've always asked for my support, and I've done a lot of group work and support work, volunteer and informally over the years. And I decided a few years ago to make this more formal, because the profession of coaching has blossomed, and people are more open to this idea of personal coaching. So in preparing to move to Florida, I spent a year training with 2 different institutes to be a life and wellness coach. And that happened in 2010. So when I moved here in 2011, I had those qualifications.
Right.
Right.
And the idea that I've had for this program I'm going to talk about has been evolving for several years. I've had it in my mind for several years, but it was so large and so expansive, I had a very difficult time bringing it down, honing it down. What is it that I really want to bring it down to? Because it has to be somewhat focused.
Right. Right.
And it's taken me a long time in talking to a lot of people and getting feedback and testing different things. And finally, I have developed a 7-week program. I'm 6 weeks now into the first version of it.
Right.
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
The people are responding beautifully. They've had amazing things happen in their lives
Awesome.
to this point
Great.
already. So it's called Live Your Right Story.
Ah.
That
And
is terrific.
What it does, we spend 7 weeks. We meet for 2 hours a week. There's homework in between. There's support in between. So it's a work in progress. It's not just an intensive weekend and then you go away and do it. You've got support for 7 weeks, and a lot can happen in 7 weeks, like the 7 chakras and the 7 days of the
Right,
week. 7 is a
exactly.
very powerful
It
number.
is. There were
Very
7
nice.
in our
7
family.
colors in the
Yes.
rainbow. The 7 is a really powerful number. So it's a progressive program, and it's not a program of good ideas. There's a lot of work that you do in the program. There's a lot of introspection, a lot of exploring, little digging.
Oh, digging in the muck.
A little
I've been
digging.
doing that for years.
But what I do is, there are many elements to it, but one of the aspects of it is that I help people change their way of thinking.
That's a key point.
Not just affirming and putting out positive intentions, but actually changing their way of thinking. So I've incorporated what neuroscience is showing us with quantum physics. So there's a lot of brain work about that. We do some body awareness work and a lot of exercises, a lot of writing, a lot of journaling. And what's happening is that whatever area of your life or chapter of your book needs to be changed is what people are changing. So it's different for everybody. For some people, it's physical health. For some people, it's their work. It could be about relationship. So you look at your story, your
Mhm.
life story, different chapters, and some of the chapters work very well. You leave those alone. The chapters that need a little editing is what you work with.
That's beautiful.
So
Definitely.
it's very nice, and it's gentle. There's nothing in the program that you have to do.
It's all by will.
If you come up against a piece of it that you don't quite get, you don't understand, you don't want to deal with, it's perfectly fine. It's entirely up to you because
not
it's
forced.
each individual's process.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, that's good because it's somewhat sounds like a little bit of the element of A Course in Miracles because that whole
I'm
course,
influenced by that too, so it's
Yeah.
bound to be in there.
It's
I mean, I've
definitely
followed Wayne
changing the
Dyer and
paradigm.
Marianne Williamson
Right.
and all of the Dalai Lama, all the great teachers
Mhm.
I've read and studied with over the years too. So I've incorporated a lot. There's spirit in it. There's a lot of mental process in it. There's body awareness in it. It's a mixture of everything.
Exactly. Well, that's what more and more what needs to be out there. That's why there's so many of us that are popping up
Right.
for doing it. And I'm just noticing because I was in that awareness in my 20s, but where I was at in my 20s, as I was sharing last week, is that I was in the light on the outside because I had the cars, I had the family, I had the this, the da 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 da, but the inside was kind of shadowy. Had flecks of shadows.
We all have our shadows.
Yes. So when I hit a wall in my life in my late 20s, heading into my 30s, I realized I had to start digging into the muck of the soul is what I call it. And I really started to dig and bring some stuff up. And that was my dark night of the soul that I was really going through. And it's amazing how we go through those rebirths constantly, but it's less traumatic. It's less dramatic. And for people like yourself, myself, Mama Kay, it's us light workers that because of the experiences that we've gone through as we go through those layers, we're able to help other people go through their layers and help guide them. Even though when we went through it, we maybe did not necessarily have that.
Well,
Here,
that's true.
me.
That's true. And I think that's a really good point because for many people who want to look at those things for themselves, they might be afraid because they don't know the process. And we understand the process of it. So we can let them know where you are right now is part of the process. You'll not always be there. You'll move into this stage or this phase, or this is open to you, this is available to you. Because I agree with you. When I first started in my 20s, I was terrified to go through any kind of therapeutic process because I didn't know what monsters were in there or if I would be able to control them.
Right.
And I was afraid of not controlling them.
Yes.
I did not want to lose my place in the world and not ever find my way back.
Right.
And I think there are so many of us now who have gone through that journey that's a really good point, that we need to let people know that you do not get stuck in that place. But you have to enter it in order to go through it. You cannot go around it.
No, because it'll still pop up.
Yes.
It will keep popping up until you finally surrender to it and say,
And
okay.
experience it.
Yeah. It is.
Honor it. It needs to be, you talked about validation earlier.
Right.
Validation,
It needs to be validated and honored.
Yes. I know I've gone through therapeutics, and I understand that when I was going through it, I had to go through the emotional and psychological things that were being brought up to get them out there so I could look at them. And I remember saying, this is like an onion. I keep peeling back more and more and more. I get tired of going over it, but that's what you have to do to get it healed. You really need to get it healed and let it go and know that, okay, you're going further. You're going to be able to go further spiritually and honor the people and everyone that's around you, that they are gifts and they are the teachers that you are to have in your life to help you to learn. So
Yeah, and I think the key is that you are strong enough because
stronger the
sometimes we
onion,
don't
the more
feel-
tears will be shed.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't feel that we've got the strength to do it,
Exactly.
and we all do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
especially if you have a spiritual faith, you lean on the faith when you feel lost and you don't know what to do. If you don't know the next answer, you live in the question.
Mm-hmm.
Live in the question
Yes.
and know that it will come.
What else is possible?
It will come. Yeah.
How can it get any better than this?
And it does.
Thank you, Helen Mallory.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm really digging the bars that she does.
I have heard
It's-
very good things about
Have you had
the
that done
exit-
yet?
No, not yet, but it's on my list.
You need to have Helen.
I have to
do
go to
your
Helen.
bars before she goes to California.
I know. Actually, I
Yes.
need to connect with her before she goes because we haven't spoken in quite a while.
Yeah. See, 6 degrees of separation everywhere you go in life. It's always bound to happen, and
It's true.
it's always a matter of when it's the right timing of an alignment for a connection. That's when people will connect, even though their connection is with other people.
Right.
I mean, I have a great visual, but I can't get up and show it, but it's quite comical. You know, we're all in our own little worlds, you know, and we're just going around, and then all of a sudden we bump into each other, and then we're like, oh, I guess I'll be part of your world, and you'll be part of my world, and, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to turn that all into a comedy, metaphysical comedy skit to really help people grasp
Sure.
What's really
the
going
concepts
on?
of reality.
Yes.
You might throw a few bumper cars in there.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
That's what it is. It's really we're a bunch of bumper cars, and we keep bumping into each other. Oh, I'm going to learn this from you. I'm going to teach you this.
Or I'm
It's
going
a-
to, or I have a gift for you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're all gifts to each
Yeah,
other.
that's right.
Yeah.
It's true.
And learn and learn the unconditional love part. Learning to love that person, especially ourselves.
It's ourselves. We have
When
to
we're
love
in the
ourselves
shadows, when we're in the
Yeah.
darkest part of ourselves. So
Right.
now,
And that's where the body work comes in a lot too. Because I find America is a culture of contradictions. In
You
many
think?
ways.
just a
And-
little.
Just a little. And when you look at the body too, because we're very if you look at our media, our bodies are really out there with fashion and makeup and the movies and whatnot that we see. But there are very few people who are really, truly loving and comfortable in their own bodies.
Exactly.
And we've all gone through various steps and stages to increase that love. But for me, when I'm working with massage and body work, when I started, my idea was about holistic healing and not just about the relaxation part of it.
Right.
The relaxation is really important.
Because we're a whole body.
But it's
Spirit and
it's
everything.
about healing and using the body as a messenger to heal what we embody within it. And it all comes down to accepting and loving. And when I hear particularly women talk about parts of their bodies that they don't like, they want to change, they don't love it, they hate it even, it's painful because your body is your friend. Your body,
Yes.
your body is what guides you through life and carries you through life.
Yes.
So for me, when I'm working with the body work, I'm really honoring that part that says, I don't really love you yet, and I try to help that increase.
Aww,
That's
really
terrific.
awesome.
Yes.
I woke
That's
up one day,
wonderful.
looked at myself in the mirror right before taking a shower, getting out of the shower, and I'm like, I am sexy. I just embraced my body the way it is, you know.
Yeah.
Am I a size 6 like I once was? No.
And does it matter?
No, because I'm
No.
nice and curvy, and I'm
No.
And you're
cuddly.
healthy and you're strong and your body supports you.
Yes.
So that's, and I put that little blurb on Facebook for people. You know, you've come to a place where you really love yourself when you can look in the mirror naked and say, damn, I'm sexy.
You are.
Or just, I look good.
Yes.
I look good. I feel good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, what else do you have planned? Are you going to have another 7
Yes.
weeks
I have another one set for April 29th is the beginning. It's a Tuesday, and we meet 6:30 to 8:30 in the evening at my office.
And is it a specific day? Did I catch that?
It's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday the 29th, and I think it runs to June the 10th.
Oh, okay. And what will the cost be for anybody that's listening, watching?
Good question.
Yes.
We all want to know what things cost us.
Yes.
And are we willing to pay the price? It's $197 for the 7 weeks.
Okay.
If you register before the end of March, it'll be $150.
Oh, okay.
So there's a bit of an early bird there.
Yes.
And I also offer a payment scheme if people really can't put it all out at one time, just starting with a $50 deposit.
Oh, beautiful. And so people would be able to go to your website, which is touchofwellness.com.
That's correct. Now,
yes.
Go to the website tomorrow.
Oh, Chris rocks. Chris rocks. He put it on the bottom of the screen, so everybody watching, you can go to her website.
Thank you.
Miss Brenda Armstrong.
Now, the information about that will be up tomorrow. I took it down already, and I'm revamping it because, again, I'm tweaking all of this. So I'm putting a new page up tomorrow that will have all of that information and a PayPal button if you want to use PayPal.
Oh,
fantastic!
That is terrific.
And I love to work with men and women, either or. Mostly it's women that seem to be drawn to this kind of work, but don't let that keep the men away.
No,
not
well,
at
it's
all.
because we're in the dawn of the feminism to come back, but not in the way that people have thought for many years.
Right.
It's about bringing forth the nurturing, and the love that women do give out to many people when we're allowed to, and thus help men realize that it's time for us to accept their brilliance.
And I think that
who they are meant to be.
Yeah, and it's about feminine and masculine energy, not necessarily about gender, because we all have the feminine and masculine, the yin and the yang within us.
Right.
And some women are very masculine energy oriented, and some men are very feminine energy oriented. So I think that the thing is that the feminine energy, regardless of where you find it, hasn't always been honored in our culture.
Exactly.
And I think that's what you're talking about, is that it's honoring that feminine energy wherever we find it.
Yes.
And knowing that it's valuable, that it's not weak,
No,
that it's actually
not.
very strong.
It is, because I mean, I was one of those women that I had very masculine thought processes. I had very masculine ways of wanting to be controlling and dominate every aspect of my life and this and that. But in the process, I also found I was losing myself. And so that fateful day when I surrendered to the divine
It only
spirit,
took one day.
Oh, it was a process, let me tell you. But the way the universe works, when I asked to remold me and really help me get back to the truth of who I really am, the authentic self, boy, did the universe send some real people that
Gave
knocked
you exactly
me.
what you asked for.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I ended up with some very masculine men in my life to help push me back into more of bringing the feminine aspects of myself out. And that was a challenge. You know who you are out there.
It's always a challenge.
Yes. But I'm still getting used to the concept of it, because the controlling thing, sometimes we have to just kind of sit back and let things
Usually
go.
always. You really can't control anything.
No. So I'm learning not to be so controlling. So hard sometimes.
It actually takes a lot of energy to try to control anything, including our own thoughts. That's one of the things that I talk about in the program. There's an idea that we can get rid of old thoughts by replacing them with new ones. And it takes a lot of energy to try keep pushing those old thoughts away.
Right.
That's
And
true.
the truth of it is that you can never erase what you know.
Exactly.
or a thought that you've ever had, a belief that you've had.
Right.
So it's not about getting rid of those beliefs, but it's about diminishing them so that they don't have the power over you that they used to have, and you replace them with beliefs that serve.
Right, more positive
But they're
ones.
still there. So you don't, but it takes less energy to acknowledge that they're simply there and let them be than to try to keep pushing them away and getting rid of them.
Yeah, some people have tried to say, oh, you need to be this way, you need to be that way. No, I can't. I can't. I am what I am, how I am, and I've been making my internal changes for as much as I possibly can. If that's all I'm going, that's all I'm going right now.
Exactly.
You can't push me any farther. Don't force me to go any farther than where my spirit and soul wants me
It's
to be
your
right
journey.
now. Yeah.
It's your journey.
And that is something that a lot of people need to realize within themselves and with other people. Everyone is on their own spiritual journey or spiritual awakening. I believe that at some point, with everything going on in the universe, in the world, people are slowly awakening to that divinity within themselves.
I think we are. I think in some places it's little bursts. In some places it's very gradual. It's very exciting to me. I think I've stayed in this work as long as I have because every day is different. Every person is different. Even if I have clients that I have for several years, they're never the same each time. They're always different because we're all in different places. We're all evolving and shifting.
Right.
So how can you be exactly this? Even if it's the same body that I've worked with dozens of times, it's different for me every time I come because it's different for them. Every time they come to me.
Exactly.
So when you stay present with people, you see those differences. If you're not present, you don't see them and you act in a very rote, routine way. And that's when it gets boring for people, because I've heard that from a few. But if you stay present, it's never boring.
No,
it's
not
fabulous.
at all.
That's how I look at life in general.
Yeah.
It's never boring. Find interesting things about people every day.
And yourself.
Most definitely. I'm like, ooh, that was fun. Not really.
Or an old voice pops up.
Oh, yes.
Like I was talking about the beliefs that never go away. You get those, there you are again, hello. And you can go away now. I don't need to hear this. Whatever, however you use it. But it's all about just being truthful to yourself, to everyone else around you. That takes far less energy than weaving a web of deceptions and misconceptions and outright lies.
Oh,
just
definitely.
Be truthful all the time.
Standing in your
Accept it.
truth.
And be willing
Yes.
to be, and also be willing to experience the consequences of being truthful, because it isn't always pleasant.
Exactly.
That's why you always take a deep breath before you say and do your truth.
Sometimes,
All the
regardless how you say it, when it comes from love, it still depends on how it's received, and you can't control that.
No.
So
I have a perfect example of that going on at one of my jobs. I was recognizing that my manager, she was sharing her knowledge, she was sharing her experiences. Some of them were very private and truth-telling of who she was, of why she is the way she is, or this and that. And I acknowledged her and I sent her like little positive feedback, I sent her a little email, thank you, a little text, A week later, when I'm back in her presence again, she turns around and she gets me written up. And I'm just like, wow, gee, you're welcome. Thank you. I really had some trouble dealing with that.
Yes.
But now I'm at a place where, okay, you didn't like the light. You're in the dark. I still send you light and love because you need that healing, whatever that is. And I'm going to be in that position until the universe says, okay, your job is done, and I am to move to the next. So
very nice.
It's very interesting how these situations come up now, and the way I would have dealt with it in my earlier years would have been totally
Yes.
different.
You'd be very upset by it and
Probably curse
resisted
somebody
it.
up,
Mhm.
curse somebody up and down one
Right.
side, and you can
Right.
take this job and shove it and all that.
Because
But-
it hurts. And when it hurts, their first reaction often is to fire back and push back. That's why it's good to take a few deep breaths. Do an om or two.
Yes.
No, but truly,
It's powerful.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's the old
Yes.
saying, take a few deep breaths, count to 10. Count to 10 before you say anything.
I prefer oming.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's much more, raise the
My mum didn't know about
frequencies
oming when she used to tell me to count to 10.
Aw. Do you om?
I do. I meditate. I chant.
How often do you do that?
I don't do it every day,
It's okay, we don't either.
and I do it fairly frequently, though. I do it fairly frequently. I sometimes do it in my car when I'm driving. I do it in the mornings. I do it in my office, just wherever it feels right.
All right. Because
It helps.
Yeah.
Because you really make the connection. And sometimes when I'm feeling like I don't have an answer to something or I'm puzzling, and I just give it up,
Surrender.
and I'll chant or I'll om, and I just wait. I just say, okay, this is my intention. I'll leave it now to you for you to fulfill that for me in the way that's right.
Exactly. See, we're all on the same brainwave.
There are so many
Yes.
of us. This area, too, I find particularly fascinating. I had no idea when I moved to Pinellas, or the Tampa Bay area, that there would be so many people on a healing path who were actually actively doing it to help other people as well. It's a huge community here. It's fabulous.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. That was just a aha for me because I had been living in Orlando for the past on and off 15 years and had my children and relationships. All my exes don't live in Texas. But I was suddenly guided to come back here to the Tampa Bay area because this is where I was raised and everything. And when I was open to doing it, I knew that I had healed a lot from my childhood past to come back because I was open and receptive to just, okay, it's going to be different. I don't know how it's going to be different, but it's going to be different.
But you knew.
I just knew, and I was happy to come back because throughout the past couple of years, our family did suffer major traumas. We lost some loved ones and everything. And so being here to go through that process with my family, because I was always the one that, in a sense, abandoned everybody. Y'all are crazy. I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. I was really dramatic back then. Now I find all the humor and everything.
Yeah.
And so I come back now, and there are some challenges, but they're not challenges. They're opportunities for growth.
Yes.
That's what it ultimately is. And so I have recently been realizing that St. Petersburg area is really turning into a mecca
It
of
is. It's fabulous.
spiritual, artsy people, you
Very
know,
creative.
and very creative. And that's the energy I love and flourish in.
Yep.
So I'm opening
Laughing.
Yes, totally. we
laughing.
have, I don't know if you're up to it or anything, but we have moments where we just get together on social times, you know, to go to movies or go listen to live music. And we just spend the entire time enjoying each other's company, laughing, conversing, and we do Om chant mobs.
I heard about that. I heard about that. That's also the other thing I heard about you. That's fabulous. Is that like the flash mob? I love it.
But we don't, we're not necessarily out there as a flash mob, but it's the energy that we bring to a location.
And the element of surprise.
And the element of surprise. And when we come together, it's people that are really wanting to be there, really in the moment. And it's usually me saying, we're having such a great time. Let's Om.
I love it.
Yes. Get
So-
everybody else having a good time.
I think that is so. And what kind of response do you get from people?
We get an amazing response. There's a core group of us that had started it, And what we ended up doing, I mean, one of the examples, we came together. We went to Daiquiri Shack out on the beach. And that was from the John's Pass walk that we were at. You know, we owned out there on the fishing dock. All of a sudden, this drunk girl comes up. You guys are making all of the bugs come. And we're like, oh, it's okay. You'll be all right. But the bugs are buzzing and okay, it's all right. You know, and then she fluttered away, more like stumbled away. And then when we went to the Daiquiri Shack, we sat outside. There was really loud music playing, but the music sounded better outside. And so
that's why we sat outside.
Yeah, and it was a really nice evening out and everything. So we all ordered and having our little laughter and everything, and then all of a sudden I'm like, let's and so we all did, and next thing I know, all the people from Fridays ended up joining us.
TGF Fridays.
Nice.
And all joined us. My son came from wherever he had been, and he came and he was talking, and we had just a beautiful...
We had great philosophical
people.
Yes.
Fabulous.
We talked philosophical stuff. We tapped into metaphysical, spiritual stuff, and all with the humor.
Yeah.
Of laughter and everything in it, and you know, and these were young people too. They were in their 20s and stuff, and they just gravitated.
Yeah. Nice,
you know, and so it's really beautiful. And then some of our other things where we've done instantaneous Om chants with people. It's more powerful when you hold hands together, and then their lives. We put the intention for whatever's going on in their lives to help heal it and everything else. And we've been getting back reports from them like, oh my gosh, you and your mother doing that was so powerful. And so I'm like, you know, Mama Kay, I think we're on to something.
Definitely. And I think it shows there's a real desire and a yearning in people to connect that way.
We have, that's the whole thing. I've been getting the word connect from all different sources lately, and that's what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to connect with each other. We are supposed to be loving and forgiving of other people and everything. And so that's why if you go in a loving atmosphere, if you go in a way of thinking of being kind and nurturing and really being loving, that just magnifies and connects people in a wonderful, fun type of way.
And it crosses lots of boundaries in terms of religion and race and belief systems. It just crosses all of them.
Oh, yes. And we're not supposed to be limited.
That's right.
We're not supposed to be boxed up. We're supposed to be open and
in a circle.
Yes, it is. And we have to get rid of the limitations. There's no better than that, you know, better, and no competitions and everything else. Everybody is who they are, and we're all connected, and we can help each other.
We're all valuable.
Yeah.
That's the exciting thing, too, is that we're all valuable in our own way.
Yes.
And we all manifest it differently.
Exactly.
So,
and that's what we're here for, to manifest what we're really talented in and what we're really valuable to other people for.
Well said.
Yeah, she's getting better at this, isn't she? But I'm really happy that you decided that you would come on my show.
Thank you for inviting me. I met Alex, the owner of the studio.
Oh, yes. Alex is getting on me to be like, you need to bring Brenda. You need to bring Brenda. I'm like, well,
who is this woman?
Yeah. And he goes, well, she's supposed to be on Katika's show. You told me that you were supposed to be on Katika's show, and whatever happened.
It's working out. It's working out.
Yeah.
But we met at a networking group in St. Petersburg and connected.
Yes.
Very strongly. And
yes.
Just chat. And of course, Alex can talk.
Oh, yes.
Good talker.
And he said that he thought he should get me in, and I said yes. And then frankly, didn't really expect anything to happen because I've had that kind of statement made to me before, well, you should come and do such and such. But he was right on it, and then I got a phone call, and I'm thrilled to be here, and I think these studios are wonderful, and what you're all doing is fabulous. And you're getting the word out about all of this healing and connection and there's so many methods that people use. And the thing about it is, it can be a little confusing for the general public when they think about holistic healing and they're presented with this slew of modalities. How do they choose?
Right.
And sometimes people feel a little badly because they have a loyalty to a particular practitioner, and then they meet someone else that they'd like to try and they don't want to jump.
Oh,
it doesn't matter. The whole thing
There's no cheating going on, really.
But here's the thing. Everything has its place, and you can use different things at different times. And you need to do that and do what's right for you. It might be acupuncture one time, it might be massage another time, it might be hypnotherapy one time. It doesn't matter. It's what feels right to you and what works for you in the moment on that part of your journey.
Exactly.
And if we all work together that way...
Or in stereo.
You notice I went right over the top of it. If we all work together that way, then it works for all of us, and there is no competition.
No.
There's room for so much. We need so much.
So what is your personal vision that you want to see this world to evolve into in your lifetime while you're still here with us?
I'd like to see people really letting go of their shoulds and ought tos and getting out of those boxes that we create for ourselves.
Shouldn't do this.
I think that there's a big shift from religion to spirituality.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I'm not saying one is better than the other.
No.
But there's a real shift. I think the difference for me, if there is a difference, is that spirituality encompasses all religions.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
it's the core of all the religions, is the spirituality.
It's the idea of a greater consciousness, whatever that represents to you. And if you have a religion that you're very comfortable with, that's good. But a lot of people don't, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with that form, but are becoming more and more open. So in answer to your question, I'd like to see, in whatever form is right for people, that they really embrace that part of them, that we all embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you recently, I don't know if you've heard of this, about Pope Francis. There was a report out, which a lot of people, let me backtrack. Pope Francis apparently had said in one of his speeches that all religions are equal, that it does not matter what religion you are. He's basically promoting that we're all to be unified, we're all supposed to learn love, we're all supposed to be who we are. God and Jesus does not judge us and does not love us because of who we are or what we've done. That's basically the synopsis of what Pope Francis has said. However, the irony in it all is that people have found this article, because I found it and I sent it to people, but they purposely went to find a way to debunk the whole thing, even spiritual people. And they're like, oh, it's not true, it's not true, it's not true. Now I'm just like, what would cause you to want to find fault in something that is ultimately true, that you know within yourself you're practicing and believing in on your path of spirituality, but because the Pope has seemingly put it out there, now all of a sudden it shouldn't be?
Well, truth is a slippery thing, especially when you're speaking.
Slope.
Well, especially when you're speaking about spirituality, because we have no absolute concrete evidence of any of it. What we have is our faith. And regardless the form your faith takes, that's the truth for you. And that's the truth for you.
Exactly.
And the truth for me. So truth, that's what when I say truth is slippery.
Yes.
There is no concrete truth when it comes to faith and spirituality. But as long as you have some form of it that is truly loving, your life is a lot easier and smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Despite outward appearances. But at any rate, thank you so much, Brenda Armstrong, for joining us today. It was so fantastic to have you with us. Thank you, Mama Kay, for joining me as a co-host today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you. You can come back from 7 to 8 with Late Enough with Mama J, and I hope next week you'll tune in with Mama J Speaks Unlimited 2 to 3. Take care. Bye.
Bye.